if people are programmed, so let me get this straight. First of all, there's a lot to unpack. So people engage in self-deception so that they can actually deceive other people. So it's a means of actually communicating the like without being recognized. And I want to bring back Mamdani. I have no personal affiliation, no affection for Mamdani. It's just something that happens in the distance that people talk about. But it's an interesting phenomenon nonetheless. And my personal view on him, a little bit, is that I've gone to college with guys like him. I know what this champagne socialist types look like, and I'm largely untrustworthy. But if that deceptive smile is so obvious, why did he win? What do you think happened there? I know it's a little bit of a detraction.
No, brilliant. I'm gonna do I'm gonna look for a prop for a second. Hold on a sec. You ready? Okay, this is a memory stick. But for a second, I'll ask you and your audience to assume or pretend that it is the cork of a wine bottle. One of the beauties of being a multilingual speaker, Arabic is my mother tongue, is that you come up, you have sayings in the other languages that are not, as I'm sure is the case in...
They don't translate.
They don't, exactly. So there's an expression in Arabic that says getting drunk by smelling the cork of the wine bottle. Okay. Now, what does that mean? It means that you are of such weak constituency that you don't even have to go through the hard work of actually drinking the wine bottle. You just take a whiff and you're already drunk. Well, but it also is used as a metaphor for someone who is weak-minded, right? If I just tell you a few sweet words and you're already drunk by the cork of the wine bottle, then it's easy to deceive you. So now here's the answer. I think you know where I'm going with the answer to your question. Regrettably, most people, when it comes to choosing their political readers, don't activate their cognitive system, but they activate their affective system. And there's a persuasion theory called the elaboration likelihood model that speaks exactly to that point, which, by the way, is used a lot in psychology of advertising. The cognitive system is called the central route to persuasion. The affective system is called the peripheral route to persuasion. Now, advertisers know this very well without knowing all these fancy scientific terms. If I'm trying to sell you a perfume, forgive me if I put you on the spot, do you think that I'm going to activate your cognitive system or your affective system?
If I'm selling system. My affective system. Yeah, right.
Exactly. So this is why it's a hedonic product. So therefore, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a girl on a horse with her hair flowing. There'll be no talking. And then there's going to be some obnoxious brand name, Mystère, right? So what I have done is I have activated your peripheral system, your affective system. I don't usually sell you perfumes by telling you, here is what 8 Harvard physiologists said is the molecular structure benefits to your perfume. That's triggering your cognitive system. I don't want my cognitive system when you're selling me perfume. On the other hand, if I'm telling you, here are the reasons why you should invest in my mutual fund, then I should technically be triggering or invoking your cognitive system. So now let's link it back to Mamdani and political choices. When we are making very consequential decisions about the people who are going to lead us, I would hope to cross my fingers that every person in the electorate is going to activate their cognitive system. You ready? Very few people do. Why? Because thinking is hard. Thinking involves effort. Most people are cognitive misers, as I like to remind people. It's a lot less effortful to invoke my emotional system than it is to invoke my cognitive system. So if you have a politician who can say enough of the bullshit so that it could get most of us drunk, then good enough for me. So this is what explains how people vote. And by the way, I don't mean this as a political partisan point, but this is how people fall in love with the majesty of Barack Obama. Now, it is true that every single word that he utters is complete, vacuous, fatuous bullshit. But my God, does he say it with the cadence of a Southern Baptist preacher, right? He's got this beautiful mellifluous voice. Let's look at even someone much worse than Barack Obama. Our own recently departed Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. He's tall. He's got beautiful hair. He's young. He's a feminist who really cares about women's plight. So much so that he changes words like recovery, economic recovery, to she-covery. He changes words like recession to secession. Look, I'm getting
That's
drunk.
so Canadian. That's
I'm
so
not,
Canadian.
I'm not sure. I don't know if I could go on with this interview because I'm already getting drunk just thinking about him. I'm getting so turned on. So therefore, why does Mamdani win? Because most people are bafflingly imbecilic. Therefore, if I do and I say everything is free, everything, there'll be free food, there'll be free transportation, there'll be free anything you want because tax the rich, because the wealthy are exploiting you. My God, that sounds like a good message. I'd rather not spend my effort thinking about the accounting of how things could be free. And therefore, you know what? I'm voting for Mamdani. It literally is that simple.
I often told my team early on, I said, the right psychological category between whether someone will do something or not is not good or bad or right or wrong. It's cognitive load and cognitive freedom. People do not want to be loaded cognitively, and they want for it to be as simple cognitively as, like, that's the real spectrum of action when it comes to pure understanding of the mind. And I also think that marketers understand intuitively something about psychology that psychologists do not. For instance, Edward Bernays, who's kind of a cross-pollination between marketing and psychology, he convinced women smoking was the most feminist thing ever. It was a sign of freedom, and all of us got duped by it. He convinced people that bacon and eggs are the great American breakfast, and that led to heart disease and all that. And so, is there something that these people who actually have skin in the game when it comes to selling something, when it comes to moving the human action needle, do they know something more than what psychologists do, or is it different?
Well, if I can just correct you one bit, although I understand the gist of your question, it's not psychologists versus marketing. Marketers are the ultimate psychologists, right? I mean, I did my PhD was at the Johnson School of Graduate Management. I mean, my doctoral supervisor is a cognitive psychologist. I was trained in psychology of decision making, but the fact that I apply it in consumer psychology doesn't suddenly make it not psychology, right? So it's the marketer may not be a psychologist in that he didn't get a degree in psychology, but he is the ultimate psychologist because he is wedded to reality. It pays or it doesn't pay if I fully understand human psychology and I act accordingly. This is why, by the way, usually as I started my career in applying evolutionary psychology to consumer psychology, when I would give lectures in front of practitioners, business leaders, advertising executives, they were like, this is gorgeous, perfect. When I would give the exact same talk in front of academic psychologists, now some of them said, yes, gorgeous, perfect, David Buss, but others said, this is nonsense. Are you arguing that human beings and consumers are animals? Yes, idiot. I'm exactly arguing that, right? Consumers don't suddenly cease to be biological beings when they are navigating the marketplace, right? So to your point, the reason why many psychologists are more likely to be detractors of my work is because they are wedded to ideological principles that might be contrary to evolutionary psychology. So for example, if I believe that all consumer behavior is due to socialization, as an endless number of business scholars would think, well, then I don't like Gad Saad, because Gad Saad is saying, no. Of course, socialization matters, but there's a set of underlying biological imperatives that holds true whether I'm in Mumbai or Chennai or I am in Nagasaki. That's what makes us all universally the same. Well, the academic psychologist may not like that. The practitioner goes, yeah, no kidding. And so the reason why Bernays was so good is, yes, because he married psychological principles to, in his case, manipulate consumers. No kidding.